Hello everybody and welcome back to more Root Double Before Crime After Days. In the last episode we had to escape a fiery corridor with the clock ticking because the door was locked. We had to try to open it. Unfortunately that did not work, so we had to climb through a vent. Unfortunately on the other side was no better. Noxious gas filled the room as it depleted oxygen levels. Luckily we found a safe zone and we're here in the trying to get up to the attic area to hopefully find some AD because we have none and we have precious little time to spare. They found themselves in a labyrinth of pipes that seemed to cover the entire room. The group laid down the unconscious members they were carrying. Unfortunately, a couple of the members got unconscious due to the lack of oxygen.
なんとか無事にたどり着くことができましたね。
Kazami's face looked deathly pale. I mean, look at that face. Ugh, like a ghost. Was it because of the effects of the radiation, or was it extreme fatigue? Either way, Watasi spoke to her.
立花、すぐに消火システムを起動させに行こう。炎がここまで来たらおしまいだ。
わかりました。
I agree. Let's hurry up.
いや、消火システムのところには僕がついていこう。
Yes, once we can get the sprinkler system on, we can put the fires out, which will be a great boon to our plight.
僕は入所当時、ここに見学に来たことがあるんだ。副隊長さんは少し休んだ方がいい。
I agree.
そいつは助かるが、だが大丈夫なのか。
Yukida's face was just as pale as Kazami's.
何？僕だって君と同じ男なんだ。だから少しは格好をつけさせてくれたまえ。
We must protect the womanfolk.
そうか。すまんな。助かるよ。
With those words, Watasi walked over to Yukida with faltering steps and leant the ladder his shoulder.
それで消火システムはどこにあるんだ？
あっちだ。
すみません。お二人ともお願いします。
You rest. Get better. We'll need you later. Watasi and Yukida nodded to Kazami, then promptly started heading deeper into the engine room. They proceeded to weave their way through a labyrinth of pipes.
着いたぞ。
Yukida said that and pointed to the countless valves next to a giant tank.
あれが消火システム。
Man, I hope you know what you're doing.
そうだ。あそこにあるバルブをすべて開くんだ。
Okay.
わかった。任せてくれ。
Watasi quickly followed Yukida's instructions. The tank began to groan and the pipes connected to all started vibrating at once. That's a good thing.
これで問題はなさそうだ。
I better.
よし。だったら急いで引き返そう。すぐ。
いや、すまんな。
What?
僕はもう限界だ。僕はここでシステムが正常に運転しているか見ているよ。
Yukida, man. We need you. Yukida had probably pushed himself considerably to do all this, which was even more evident from the pronounced fatigue on his face. So Watasi left him there and navigated his way back to the pipe maze. But when he got back to the ladder,
立花!
Kazami was lying on the ground collapsed. Watasi frantically ran over to her. Oh no.
すみません。
Oh no, oh no, oh no. No, don't die on me. A sickening stench filled Watasi's nose. A puddle of vomit was lying nearby. It had most likely been the result of the effects of radiation exposure taking a toll on Kazami. I knew it. That AD wasn't enough for her.
待ってろ、立花。すぐ AD を見つけてきてやる。
Watasi sped towards the ladder and slid on down. Whee! He heard what sounded like a shower in the distance. It seemed the sprinklers were doing their job and the blocks with fires in them promptly. Thank God. However, it was likely that the halls weren't clear of gas just yet. Watasi took the deepest breath he could, then rushed out into the hallway. First room yielded no AD. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Watasi found a medical box lying in the second room. Good, good, good. He ran over to it and opened it up. Good. Found them. There was 2 AD in there. Nice. Well, he was overjoyed at how surprisingly quick he found some AD. Watasi was also a bit disappointed. If you'd known this was lying around so close by, then I would have never hesitated to search back then. Then Tachibana would have had to suffer as much. Still, now, he secured the necessary AD for Kazami. We're still 4 short. But he felt like his breath was about to run out after having to run around this whole time. Utasi reluctantly cut his search short and returned to the engine room. By the time he got back up the ladder, June and Ina were already awake, desperately looking after Kazami as she moaned in agony.
隊長副隊長が
分かってる。早くこいつを立花に。
Watasi gave one of the AD to June, who then quickly injected it into Kazami. Feel better? Kazami was liberated from her pain as the AD started to take effect. She then fell unconscious. June immediately checked Kazami's vital checker.
オールグリーン焦った。とりあえずこれで一安心ね。
We can't though. We gotta find more AD.
ところで隊長さん、今どういう状況になってるの？ここってエンジンルームよね。
Sprinklers.
ってことはもう消火システムは起動させたの？浮田さんが見当たらないようだけど。
Notasi proceeded to answer the questions and explain what had happened up until that point, such as how they'd run through the gas and miraculously made it to the engine room, and how he and Yukita started up the sprinkler system, and how he'd only been able to get his hands on 2 AD.
それじゃあ一本は立花さんに使ったから。
ああ、まだ調べていない部屋があるから、そっちにも AD があるのかもしれないが。
よし、じゃあ今度は私が AD を探しに行ってくるよ。
いや、やめておくんだ。ついさっき倒れたことを忘れたのか。
I agree. Let us do it.
でも。
ダメだ。俺だってもう体力の限界なんだ。もしまたお前が倒れたら、今度は誰がお前を担ぐんだ？
That's a good question.
それはそうだけど。ねえ、消火とガス換気が終わるまでどのくらいかかるのかしら？
I don't know.
さあ、よくわからんが10分くらいじゃないか。
10 minutes? Okay.
10分か。その頃には、
Oh, yeah.
私たちの AD は完全に切れてるわね。
I assume we're all past our expiration on the AD. Anna said that and quietly looked at the now unconscious Kazami's face. She was probably worried they end up just like her. A heavy atmosphere hung over the engine room. Time then flew by without event, thank God. And then Kazami's watch rang, informing that their last dose of AD had just worn off. Kazami woke up at that moment.
副隊長。
Don't tell me you were sleeping.
どうやら気を失っていたようですね。
She slowly sat up as she shook her head.
立花、気分はどうだ？顔色はだいぶ良くなったようだが。
おかげさまで。森部隊長、椿山さんもずいぶん迷惑をかけてしまいましたね。何言ってるの。それはお互い様よ。
Just then, Yukita came back. Oh, how's he doing? His gait was now firm. Perhaps he'd recover his stamina.
おいみんな、消火システムは正常運転中だ。そろそろ階下に降りても大丈夫そうだぞ。
Good, let's go find some AD and fast.
そうか、すまない浮田さん。
何かまんさ。ところでさっきアラームが鳴っていた気がしたのだが。
Kazami gasped in surprise.
隊長、皆さんの分の AD は？
I have one left. We must hold a battle royale for the last one. No, don't do that.
すまん。俺が手に入れた AD はあと1本しか残っていないんだ。
そうだったのか。
But there could be more. We don't know. We haven't checked all the rooms. There's still hope. That doesn't look like hope to me. You guys, come on. Don't give me the depressed air now. Mutasi began to feel an uncomfortable tingling in his skin as if to prove that the effects of the AD had worn off. He looked around to see that Everyone, apart from Kazami, was rubbing their arms. Well, that's not good. Procan rate 3090 MSV. That's a lot. A radiation level that would most likely have very serious effects on those who hadn't taken any aid. June nervously began to talk.
それでその最後の AD は誰が使う？
Man, this is a choice I didn't want to have to make, but I knew it would probably come eventually. You could immediately answer without the slightest hesitation.
ユーリ君に使おう。
Yuri?
そうね。この中で一番か弱いのは彼女だから。
Ah, that's true. And at that moment.
ここ
Oh yeah, I forgot she was collapsed. Yuri woke up and looked around in confusion.
ガスを吸って倒れたんだよ。だがもう大丈夫だ。消火システムもちゃんと起動させたしな。
そうだったんですか。
Yuri's answer was vague, most likely because she wasn't fully awake yet. She doesn't know what's going on. Could this be symptoms of radiation exposure? Utasi took Yuri's arm as anxiety well up inside him.
詳しい説明は後だ。それより先に AD を打った方がいい。
Here you go. Yuri let out a bewildered cry with Tasi's words. And as soon as she saw the AD in his hands... No, we've been over this. You don't do that. Yuri knocked it away. Oh, shit. You broke it! That's the last one we had! The AD hit a pipe and shattered to bits. And so the last precious ampule of AD that the group had saved for Yuri was gone. Yeah, alright. Appreciate the sentiment, Yuri. Trying to save your life here. What do? You know what? If you die, I don't care anymore.
ユーリ、お前
Blood rushed to Watasi's head. How could you do that? He then rose his hand on instinct. Then...
やめろ!
What the hell? In her voice, this is not the time. I gotta show her some manners. Watasi writhed in pain from the sudden headache. His vision quickly grew dark. Don't tell me. Is this a result of the 80s effects wearing off? His consciousness didn't sink into a void. Damn it. His consciousness was in an eternal darkness. But by the time he could realize that, the darkness had ceased to be. He woke up to find himself still in the engine room. He shook his hazy head and glanced at his watch. It read 12:56 p.m. An hour and a half had already passed. Where are the others? Watasi looked around, but no one else was there. Where'd they go? Did they just abandon me up here? He suddenly spotted his PDA on the ground. On the screen was a simple forward message: "We went on ahead." And lying next to it was an AD.
そうか。あの後、ちゃんと AD が見つかったんだな。
Took a load off my mind. Both his headache and the discomfort in his skin were gone. Someone must have injected him with AD while he was out.
さて、俺も行くか。
No time to wait. He didn't know where Kazami and the others were, but he couldn't just sit around and do nothing. Watasi put the AD in his pocket, climbed down the ladder, and went looking for the others. He left the room to find that the hall was already completely clear of gas.
とりあえず、監視ルームに行ってみるか。
It was probably easier to find the group by checking the surveillance camera footage rather than blindly wandering below. With his mind made up, Watasi headed over to the inner room. He then walked through the now doused connecting passageway and entered B1 of Area 3's inner ring. Oh, that's not good. When a fierce roar suddenly shook the air.
爆発
Shivers ran down his spine. What happened? I thought all the fires in the level were already taken care of. His heart started pounding like crazy in the face of this seemingly impossible event. If it wasn't fire, then what was it? Watasi ran through the halls as fast as he could to find out what happened. He then spotted clouds of dust coming from up ahead in the vicinity of the stairwell. The fireproof door to the stairwell was crushed from the inside out.
なんでこんなことに
What the fuck? Watasi lost his cool and lunged into the stairwell. Why did we do that? It was dark. There was so much dust shrouding the room that it was almost blinding. But Watasi strained his eyes and was gradually able to make out more and more of the disaster in front of him. The stairs leading to B2 had blown up without a trace. And to make matters worse, something was lying at the edge of the collapsed staircase. What's that? But it was simply too dark for him to even make out the steps. Or shapes, sorry. He had no choice but to go and find out what it was. Watasi gulped. He then went down the crumbling staircase, one step at a time. There were only a few dozen steps, but it felt so terribly far. The closer he got, the more his body oozed with sweat. Turn back! Something that was most likely Watasi's instincts was screaming that at him. But Watasi ignored the voice and kept on going. His eyes were getting more and more used to the darkness, allowing him to tell that the object he was looking at was human-shaped. It had hands, a head, arms. Who is it? Watasi went down on his knees to check the person's identity. It was none other than... Ooh, I'm so tempted to end the video here, but that would be such a mean thing to do. I'm not going to do it. Who is it? Oh no.
Tachibana!
Oh no. As soon as he realized it was her, he could clearly make out Kazami's face in the darkness.
Oi, Tachibana! Shikkari shiro!
Watasi panicked and desperately took her into his arms. But it was strange. She was light. Too light. It was only then that Watasi finally noticed it. The lower half of her body was gone. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Watasi immediately looked for it, but he couldn't find it anywhere. Blood trickled down the floor of B2 from Kazami's dangling intestines. A feral howl escaped from Watasi's throat. A howl full of unidentified emotion that could not be interpreted as either anger or sorrow. Just then, someone appeared behind Watasi. Watasi tried to turn around right away, but it was too late. He was thrust away by something, probably a foot. When he came to his senses, he was in pitch black darkness. He fell headfirst as he continued to hold on to the upper half of Kazami's body. And a second later, the crown of his head smashed into the ground. His skull broke, causing something to start leaking out of it. Oh my god. Bizarre noise came out of his mouth. And so the last thing Watasi ever saw as he lay in that darkness was the hollow look on Kazami's face lying next to him. Why did I get a game over? What the fuck? The result of being too cowardly and searching for AD far too late, you may be able to avert this fate by setting Watasi's senses lower than the rest of his groups at the SS input just before this ending. Well, fuck me, back to the drawing board. Okay, I think I'm back here where I I had the last choice. It's so annoying, this game. Skip any of this. Okay. We're gonna skip, hopefully. Nothing will be bad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, so we're good. Yes. Can't do it. Can't carry two people at once. Something glared at Watasi before I could finish.
いいからやりなさい。できるんだから。
Okay, Jesus Christ, woman.
いや、あなたならできます。ご自分が信じられなければ、私の言葉を信じてください。
Alrighty. Her words were strangely persuasive. And although it came a few seconds late, he felt self-conscious well up in him.
わかった。任せてくれ。
お願いします。
Kazami nodded with a stern look on her face, then turned to Yukita.
浮田さんは申し訳ありませんが、
Okay,
ご自分で走っていただけますか。
Skip all this. Okay. Okay, here we go. This was the choice, I think. We gotta lower Watasi's. Lower than everybody else. Okay. God, this game is so confusing. It's so easy to die in this game. Like, I thought I was doing good, then, oh, hey, all of a sudden, death scene. It's like, really? Okay. Wait, if I die like over there, then I'll be all for nothing. Okay. Tassi already figured out the answer to that question. Bring everybody up the ladder.
隊長、どうするおつもりで。
俺はもう一度ガスの中に入り AD を探してくる。
Because we died because we searched for 80 too late. If I go out and look for it, then yeah. Watasi said that, took a deep breath, and rushed out of the room.
隊長、お待ちください、隊長。
I can't hear you. Kazami's cries fell on deaf ears. Alright, chapter 3. We were already in chapter 3. Now we're in it again. Had to go back to chapter 2. Oh god, it's smoky. Watasi ran through the poisonous air. He just kept his breath held completely all the while. He believed there was AD in one of the several offices that lined the outer ring. The first room yielded no luck. But there was an iron box lying in the second room. A medical box. Watasi ran over to open it up. 2 AD? Inside of it was some AD, but only 2 ampules. This isn't enough. Watasi shoved the AD in his pocket and tossed the medical box aside. He needed 4 more to keep everyone, especially Kazami, alive. Watasi gritted his teeth and ran into the next room. But there was no AD to be found there, nor in the room after that, or even in the room after that one. God damn it, there's nothing here. Going through a second round of anaerobic exercise was particularly harsh on Watasi. Though it was still easier than when he'd been carrying Jun and Yuri. This would be so much easier if I could just breathe. His lungs were seeking oxygen so desperately that his heart felt like it was going to explode. He put up with it and entered the next room. Only to be greeted by the swaying of flames. Oh god, am I gonna die here? You know what? I'm gonna leave it as is. Probably gonna die, but whatever. Pitch black smoke spreads, sending a striking pain through his eyes. Great. So not only do I have to hold my breath, but now I'm fighting against fire. If there was any AD in there, he had to get it now or it would be incinerated, but Watasi could very well lose his life for real searching in a place like this. Watasi's heart let out a scream. I can't hold out much longer. Can I make it? No, I can't do it. There's just no way it can be done. Watasi turned his back on the room. But just as he was about to leave... Oh god, no. Five faces flashed through his mind. God damn it! Oh, I gotta do it. They needed 4 more ampules of AD. 4 people would be exposed to radiation if he didn't find some quickly. I don't want to let anyone die. He held his ground and turned back. He then ran into the room while cursing himself for his moment of weakness. Watasi strained his eyes and looked around as black smoke and raging heat waves assaulted him. Just then, he spotted a medical box in a gap between the flames. Is there anything in it? Watasi ran over the box and opened it up. Ha ha ha! 5 ampules! They're here! Watasi grabbed the box and took it with him. He then hit his limit. Watasi's consciousness started fading from oxygen deprivation. It hurts! Just then, as his body thirsted for air, the dam within him finally broke down. But by the time he came to his senses, he was breathing. But a second later, he felt an intense suffocation sensation. It's like someone had jammed silk floss down his throat. His whole body went rigid in mere moments. His 5 senses were faked, and his line of sight started blackening out. The words, oxygen-deficient air, crossed his mind. Let me get this AD to everyone, if nothing else. But his body would not move. The flames closed in on him. It's hot. I'm burning. Someone help me. I can't breathe. Watashi's consciousness then shut off, and before long, vanished completely. Oh, son of a bitch! I died again! I thought I was doing the right thing. It's because I hesitated too long, wasn't it? That's what it was. The result of showing weakness. Alright. At least I tell you what to do if you screw up. That's something. Back to the drawing board. Oh, God, and I quick save before it? It doesn't quick save before a choice. It quick saves after the choice. Well, that doesn't do me any good. Now, does it? Good. Run and search. Okay. Let's not screw up this time. Alrighty. Can't hold out much longer. I can do this. Tassi steeled his resolve and stood his ground. He wiped his tears and looked around carefully. And there it is. Down the box. Yay! Get the hell out of here. But he didn't have any strength left. His consciousness was fading from oxygen deprivation. His feet were as heavy as lead, and tears filled his eyes, distorting his line of sight. Damn it! I've hit my limit. As he walked through the darkness, still holding his breath. Let me get this AD to everyone. He leaned against the wall and fumbled his way down the hall, but before long, his hand came into contact with something soft. A hand? Someone's hand was firmly grasping Watasi. Watasi wiped his tears and looked in front of him. Kazami was standing there. Tachi Bana. He called out to her in a voice that wasn't a voice. Kazami also wordlessly replied to him. She appeared to have said Captain. Kazami landed Watasi's shoulder and broke off into a mad dash. They reached the room with the ladder and practically dived into it. Both of them took deep breaths once the door was closed.
Taicho, ご無事ですか?
Watasi took out the AD he retrieved as he continued to paint.
それより
Paint?
AD
Take it. I can't talk anymore.
これでみんな助かるぞ
Kazami gave him a pointed look.
すまないお前にはまた心配をかけちゃ
I
った
brought us life-saving medicine. You can thank me later. Watasi was prepared to face another scolding from her, but instead Kazami gave him a sweet smile.
もう本当に無茶ばかりして。
叱らないのか
英雄的な行動は推奨できませんが、今回の功績は認めざるを得ないでしょう。
So we have 7 ampules now.
そうなのかよかった
ええ。
Kazami said that and held her hand out to Watasi. It was right at that moment that Kazami's watch alarm went off.
AD 投与の時間です。上に行きましょう。
I assume they're working on the sprinkler system as I'm doing all this.
ああ
Watasi took Kazami's hand and climbed up the ladder, and soon enough, they reached the engine room. Junior and Ina were already lying there, and Yukito was sitting next to
よし
them.
皆に AD を投与してやろう
手分けしましょう。3本こちらへ。
Watasi and Kazami soon began injecting everyone. First June, then Yukito, then Ina, then Yuri. And last, they injected themselves.
次、バイタルチェックします。
Kazami then removed her vital check and wrapped it around everyone's wrists one by one. Watasi watched with bated breath as she checked everyone's blood pressure and temperature. Only for her to finish and start speaking with a relieved tone of voice.
チェック終了。全員条件付きでグリーン。
Good, let's get the sprinkler on.
皆さん、気を失っていますが、すぐに回復すると思います。
Watasi then breathed a huge sigh of relief.
みんな無事でよかった
ええ。しばらく休んでいれば大丈夫そうです。
We didn't buy us much time though. An hour only.
解毒剤とかは必要ないのか
酸欠空気は人体に極めて有害ですが、毒性はありませんからね。
よしじゃあ立花はみんなを見ていてくれ俺は今のうちに消火システムとやらを起動させてくる
Somehow I remember how to do it.
でもそれってどこにあるんでしょう。
Kazami examined her surroundings. Just as she said, there were various sized pipes and pieces of equipment strewn all over the place. It was difficult to tell where, anything was here.
何か見取り図のようなものはないか
He looked around with that thought in mind and eventually spotted a machine with a small motor on it located by the ladder.
あれは
Watasi and Kazami ran up to the machine and found the following written on the screen. Engine room, engineer, terminal menu, electronics manual, screen, work manual, screen, editing screen. Please touch the screen you wish to view. It appeared there were electronic manuals for the staff who supervised the engine room. Watasi decided to tap the electronics manuals bar first, causing the content of the screen to change. WX, okay, we got it.
題名だけじゃどういう内容なのかがよくわからないな。
この WX 粒子増幅器
I
運
thought
用
we
マ
just
ニュア
turned
ル
some
って
valves last time. Why is it so much more complicated? Oh yeah, Yukida did it, I forgot. Kazami pressed that section, changing the screen yet again. It drew up a graph of a cylindrical machine, along with the manual's table of content. But there wasn't anything important listed in it.
消火システムとは関係ないみたいですね。
くそ、消火システムのマニュアルはないのか。
Watasi tried to fiddle around with the screen some more, but then
待て、
Yukida called out in a pained voice as he kept sitting on the floor.
浮田さん、大丈夫なのか。
ああ、なんとかね。
Yukida stood up and shook his head.
それより消火システムの場所なら僕が知ってる。入所当時ここに見学しに来たことがあるからね。向こうの奥の方だ。案内しよう。
Oh, thank God.
そうか、助かるよ。
ではお手数ですがお願いします。
Yukida nodded and started walking on unsteady feet. Watasi followed him with a similar stumble in his steps. Yukida weaved his way through the gaps in the between the labyrinth of pipes. Watasi followed close by, making sure Yukida didn't lose his balance. Yukida pointed further down the path towards an object that had come into view.
確かあの大きなタンクが消火剤の詰まっているタンクだ。水や窒素ガスなども詰まっている。
窒素ガス。
消火作用があるんだよ。例えばブレインセルがあるような場所では水を使用できないだろ。
なるほどな。じゃああのやたら太いパイプは何なんだ。
Next to the tank was a thick pipe that crossed near the engine room ceiling.
あれは確か原子炉の冷却水用のパイプだったかな。近くにある湖から水を取っているんだ。
湖か。
An idea suddenly flashed through Watasi's head.
そうだ、浮田さん。あのパイプの中を伝って湖まで脱出できないかな。
I don't think so.
不可能だ。
なぜ？
冷却水用のパイプだと言ったろ。あのパイプの中には水が高速で循環している。パイプ内に入るために穴を開けたりしたら凄まじい勢いで水があふれ、この地下部分が丸ごと水没してしまう。全員死ぬぞ。
Damn. That was a good idea.
そうか。水の流れを止める方法は？
わからんが、仮にあったとしてもどのみち脱出は不可能だ。湖までの距離は約500メートル。息を止めたままそこまで行くつもりかね。
That's a long way away.
じゃあ空気ボンベを使えば。
それは実にいい考えだ。
No, at least there would
全員
be.
分のボンベとマスクがどこかにあるならね。
Man, I'm just not talk to you anymore. You're so negative all the time.
まあそれがあったとしても、冷却に使われた水は原子炉の熱で熱されている。確か50度以上だったかな。
That's
耐え
hot.
られる暑さではないよ。
So it really wasn't possible to escape through the pipe in a number of ways. Tasi's shoulders slumped in disappointment.
そうか。いいアイディアだと思ったんだが。
残念ながらパイプからの脱出なんて案は僕だって真っ先に考えたさ。
Man, will you stop this? Please?
だが今までそれを口にしなかったのはそもそも不可能だからだ。だいたいこの辺りの話は隊長さんには記憶を失う前にも説明したはずだがね。
Probably. I don't know. The sarcastic words hit a little too close to home.
そうなのか。悪いがそのことも全く覚えていない。
だとしたら記憶の混濁なんてレベルではないな。
I'm not gonna be a jerk. Fine. Whatever.
何も覚えていないのかね。君が地下に降りてきた理由も救助すべき人の名も。
立花が言うには時間とともに記憶が戻ってくるらしいが、なかなかな。
You know, I hate to say it, guys, but I might actually have to break out a guide for this game, because if I keep getting game overs, it's going to be a real, you know, a real problem progressing the game. Because I basically just lost a full episode of content, which is really annoying. So I might have to do it starting the next video. I don't want to, but, you know, looks to be how it's going to go. It's just way too easy to die, and the choices aren't exactly obvious. It's just sliding scales. Yuka went quiet. He looked at Watase with a somewhat doubtful expression. Realizing it was on notch for Yuka to be that way, Watase continued.
残念ながらこれ本当のことなんだ。頼りないレスキュー隊長で済まない。
じゃあ君はさっきそんな状態だというのに危険を冒してまでみんなの分の AD を取りに行ったわけか。
ああ、今の俺にできることはそう多くないからな。記憶がなくても体力はある。知識がない分体動かさなきゃと思ってさ。
ガスよりも放射線が怖いというわけかね。
そりゃな、 AD が足りなくなるのが一番怖いだろう。
What about food? You gotta be getting hungry.
だけどガスの中駆けずり回ったおかげでどうにかまた1時間生きながらえたぞ。
Not that I ever want to eat any food I found here, but... You could have stared at Watase for a while, but eventually settled for a snort.
それは確かに大したものだな。礼を言っておくよ。ありがとう。
なんだよ急に。おっさんに褒められてもそんなに嬉しくはないぞ。
Damn, dude. He's trying to compliment you.
おっさんって僕はまだ35だぞ。君とそう年も変わらないじゃないか。
そういえばそうか。ま、おっさん同士力を合わせて女の子たちを助けていこうぜ。
We must protect the women folk. In the next episode. Take it easy, guys.